Well, the only people I really, know who are interested in VR are already on VR. The only reason there's two reasons I could think that interest in VR is declining. One, people already have access to VR, so there's no need to buy more product for something you already have. And the other thing is, since you already have it, and let's say you've been on VR a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years, you've done the same things over and over again multiple times. It's gonna get boring. You're gonna seek other kind of entertainment to, keep yourself busy and occupied. So those are the only two things I could think of where it could be in a decline. I personally haven't seen it because all my friends are always on. So
interest in VR is declining. I actually saw something online like that. Like I looked it up myself, but like I didn't read the whole article. But it said something about like it's increasing like every year or so, and I thought that was like really nice. And I feel like maybe like people won't get on as much, but like it's definitely not declining. You feel me? Like it's still definitely one of those things that people will get on and do stuff with. You feel me?
To be honest, I think maybe a little bit, but I feel like it's booming more because of like new features that are being added and like more VTubers recently starting to upload, like you. Like new VTubers, yeah, coming to town, making Discord servers, hanging out with everyone. People who are starting out with VRchat can like search up a video of like best places to go and best avatar worlds to find, So I think like in general, it might be dwindling like a little bit, but I feel like the overall popularity is just like increasing.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, like, it's still, like, I still see just as many people on VRchat as I did when I first got it, if not more. Like, I go into worlds where there's like fucking 50 of them and my computer lags to shit, so I don't think it's like declining by any like stretch of the imagination. I would say it's probably just at a steady pace right now, though.
I would say yes, just because I've seen some videos in like a documentary about VRchat, which led me here. And it was more poppin' than it was now, than it is today. I don't think as much people are playing it anymore. Or like, especially during the pandemic, I think it gave people an excuse to be in here and actually interact with people. But yeah, I just see it is not as busy or as crazy as I thought it would be. So yeah, it is declining. Some sort, but there's still people that will play, right?
My opinion, kind of. Because back then, when quarantine was a whole thing, quarantine basically started the entire VRchat. Not really, because it used to be out. But I feel like since the whole quarantine thing, not be able to talk to people, not be able to hang out with your friends online, not be able to talk with your friends like physically, aside like calling and stuff. I feel like VRchat during the whole pandemic was a good jump into virtual reality / meta. And I think now, since people are more out, and now that the pandemic has now relaxed, hasn't basically burst out like it used to, I think that it may slowly decline. That's also depending on the community of the entire meta, the entire VR, basically everything. I think if the entire community were to come together, we could probably find another interest. We could probably have more people in VR if we were to try to get like feedback. Because I feel like feedback from the community and like the outside world, the real world, would be better. So we could get like people who wanted to try VR, people who have gone like to arcades and like tried on the VR headset and done all this and be like, oh, that's so cool. I wish like I had one, and that we can do so much more instead of just this. Because VR chat or VR and meta in general does not have as many options. It does, but I feel like sometimes there's not enough. Because I think there's now, from the whole pandemic and how pandemic has ended, I feel like there's now less people a bit, because there's not as many people now stuck inside their houses trying to find a way to be entertained. They're now going out and having the job that they used to have. So I think that just took them away from virtual because they had a real life things to do.
Okay.
And what I want to say is that us as the community should get together and try to talk with reality, which is to get feedback and to try to make it a bit more realistic and try to get a bit more of the community back from how it used to be.
I wouldn't say so. I feel like the more advanced it becomes, the more interesting it is. So people's interest is like piqued with like being able to like obviously like move your whole body and starting to be able to feel stuff and track certain things. I think that is appealing to a lot of people, so it keeps the interest.
I think that the only reason why interest in VR is declining is because developers are not listening to the people that actually play VR. Right? Like, they're making things either inaccessible or, like, for example, the new Quest that Zuckerberg just came out with before Christmas, like that Quest Pro or whatever it was called, where it was literally designed for office use instead of VR players.
Yeah.
Which no one is going to use a VR set in an office. Like, it's not as accessible. It's super expensive. And those that do have it can't run games like VR very well. It's a terrible headset. And I guess, like, people are just getting really, really impatient because we put, like, all this time and patience and waiting. Like, I waited ages before I got my headset because I did not think it was worth it. Right? Like, right now, there's only 2 games that I play on my headset because a lot of the games that are available, there you go, all the games that are currently available suck, right? So I only have, like, Beat Saber and VR Chat, and I think I have, like, one little free thing where it's, like, a meditation thing that you sit down and you, like, relax and stuff and, like, go through, like, a visual thing. Yeah. Like, I have one game that I want to get where it's like wizards and shit, where you can play like an MMO online with friends in VR, and I'm like, I'm interested in that, but it also looks fine, but at the same time it doesn't like look like the way you think it should be in VR in like 2022 or 2023. Right? It just doesn't seem right. So I guess a lot of people are just really sick and tired of just being let down by VR, which is why interest is probably declining. But like, yeah, because like even right after EAC, the catastrophe of EAC, like the population of VR chat went down a little bit, but it still stayed a steady number. So I'm not 100% sure if people are actually losing interest or if it's just like people just not buying in headsets as much anymore.